be sure to follow me on Twitter. There you can keep up with all the updates from Comics Explained and talk to me directly. What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and welcome to Marvel Where to Start, a series where I give you a suggested reading list for various Marvel characters and teams based on my experience. Now keep in mind, this is not designed to replace full character discussions, and it's not designed for these opinions to be absolute. These videos are designed to help you decide which stories are worth reading, and this week, we're going to be talking about Daredevil. So, Daredevil Volume 1, Issue Number 1 from 1964 is an essential read for anyone starting with Daredevil because this gives us the first origin of Daredevil, and in truth, this is specifically important when it comes to later stories like Frank Miller's run on Daredevil and Daredevil Yellow. Now, the origin as it's given to us in this story is that Matt Murdock's father is a boxer, and as a boxer, he decides not to throw a fight, which results in him being killed by a mobster. Now, this ultimately leads to Daredevil taking on the role of becoming a superhero, but the way his character is initially depicted to us is that he's designed his suit, which is yellow and black, based on the boxing uniform of his father. Now, with issues number 5 through 10 in Volume 1, the writing duties, which were of course initially handled by Stan Lee, were handed over to Gene Colan. And Gene Colan was responsible for introducing Daredevil's run with the red costume, which of course appeared in issue number 7. But most of the story elements that we had seen with Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's run remains the same. That is to say, a lot of the 1960s elements that we had seen in these stories don't really change that much. We see them battling the same kind of villains, we see them confronting in the same kind of fashion, but things don't really change at all from what we had initially seen. Now, from here, we jump to Frank Miller's run on Daredevil with issue number 168 of Volume 1. Now, during Frank Miller's run, Daredevil takes on a much darker tone to the stories, including attempting to murder criminals and some pretty shady tactics in terms of trying to gain information. But this run of Daredevil is notable because it was an extreme break away from what we had seen in previous Daredevil stories, where he would maintain the archetype of a superhero without delving into the realm of an anti-hero. And what I mean by this is that when he operated as a good guy, when he operated as a superhero, he was the archetype of a superhero. That is to say, he fought the good fight and he never really resorted to shady tactics here. But under Frank Miller, he was more of a representation of how gritty a superhero would have to be in this, in Hell's Kitchen in order to operate effectively. And so what he had done was effectively turn Daredevil into an anti-hero. Now, with issues number 238 to 291, Ann Nicocenti takes over writing for Daredevil. And under Ann Nicocenti, the darker elements of Daredevil remain, but they're expanded into the realm of more real-world issues as a way to kind of raise awareness for these things. Now, some fans who were longtime readers of Daredevil initially criticized Ann Nicocenti for turning Daredevil into a series of political platforms, but what really was going on here was that the idea of Ann Nicocenti was to, again, keep the elements of Daredevil in a very dark tone, but to also add in elements of the real world to really depict this character and what he would be like if he existed in the real world. Now, the important thing to also keep in mind here is that a lot of the elements that will exist in the Netflix series will most likely be drawn from both Frank Miller's run and Ann Nicocenti's run of Daredevil. And so it's very important that if you read any of the items on this reading list, that you probably catch up with these two things. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and bring this video to an end. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let me know, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.